All right, the new champ is here. John Morgan, why don't you start us off?
Tyron, I know it's still fresh for you right now, but has it soaked in a little bit? Give us an idea of the emotions that you're going through right now.
It hasn't really sunk in yet. I just been having this surreal training camp where, everything has been stress-free. Duke, Rufus, and Dean Thomas has done a phenomenal job preparing me, giving me the confidence. I've had some amazing training partners, and I was just nervous that I wasn't nervous. And someone just told me, you got to enjoy this moment. You've been in this sport for 10 years, and you've never enjoyed the moment. You never received the walkout crowd. And I just felt confident to enjoy this moment. I knew I was going to be the world champion.
You told me that you saw yourself knocking him out. Was there something, was it that right hand that you thought it was going to be, and is there something in his tendencies that you thought that was going to be there?
I saw myself several times knocking him out in several different rounds, and I visualized it over and over again. I do a lot of visualization, but it wasn't something, a chink in his armor that really showed me that. It was just, I knew he would be thinking about my wrestling. I knew he would be thinking about my right hand. So we had several different plays, as we call them, to get to that right hand or get to a powerful punch.
And we didn't get to see the interview, but apparently, following social media, you said you like Nick Diaz as the first defense of your
I
belt.
want to make some money now. I'm going to be honest. The goal one is to be the welterweight champion of the world, but I put in too much time. I'm away from my family way too often. This is a sport where we can make cash now. So instead of just saying this person deserves it and he worked his way through the rank, I think Nick Diaz comes off suspension in 2 days. I would love to fight him on 202. I know his brother's fighting. I think he deserves it. He's a guy that's been around the sport. He put a lot of butts in the seats, sold a lot of pay-per-views. So why not put him on a big card with Conor and his brother? I know he's training already, and let him cash out. So I'm willing to give him that opportunity. Or I would like to fight George St. Pierre in New York City.
A lot of people are saying Stephen Thompson should get that first shot. Does that not interest you? Or?
Stephen Thompson said he wanted to fight Robbie Lawler. He said it was a better matchup. The fans would be excited to watch it. He'll get an opportunity to have that fight.
Thanks, Tyron.
Just go over here in the front.
Mr. Woodley, being that you're a big part of the Ferguson community, and with all this going on over this past summer, what does this victory mean for your community of Ferguson?
It means a ton, I said this in several interviews. In 1996, Muhammad Ali lit the torch here in Atlanta, Georgia, and I think it's him passing the torch when he passed this year to pass it to us athletes, not just African-American, all athletes, to use our platform to impact, to inspire, to give back to our community. So I'm excited for this because I'm one of the athletes that have taken that charge. I'm okay with going out there and giving back to our community, talking to our youth. And, it means the world to me because I'm a kid that grew up in Ferguson. A lot of people told me I wasn't going to be something or do something, and I've always proved everybody wrong. A lot of people didn't think I deserved this shot. They didn't think I should be fighting for the welterweight title, but I'm sitting here in front of you as the welterweight champion of the world, and it's because I have a great family, a great support system, great trainers, great wife. My mom has, been the backbone of my life. So everybody's giving me the tools to be successful, and I think I can push that on to some youth in Ferguson.
Go, Brett.
Hey, Tyron, this question might kind of sound like out of left field, but there have been a lot of UFC champions lose recently. There's just been a lot of turnover at the top. And I just wonder if I know that you're self-motivated, you're completely self-confident, but do you take anything away from, you're booked as a challenger in a title fight and you see someone that's similar to you, like a Stipe Miocic or an Eddie Alvarez or someone like that, win a title? Does it do anything for your confidence level seeing something like that?
I never really saw those guys as that large of an underdog. Eddie Alvarez is a stud. He's been around the game for a long time. Amanda Nunes, I've been telling people that forever. I said she can compete with a lot of the male bantamweights in the 8th American top team. I just saw her stopping her, and everybody thought I was crazy, but I saw her stopping that fight. And, just some of the other guys, I don't think it's a landslide. We get the entertainment aspect in mixed martial arts in the UFC, but it's also people that are working their butt off and they're trying to be champions. So I don't think it's like the season of the underdog. But once all those guys won, I'm like, man, if I don't win, I'm going to break the streak. So, it wasn't any added pressure. It was actually just something, kind of we laughed about. And the same thing with Fox. I'm one of the analysts on Fox. And all those guys either have had or currently have a belt. And it was my opportunity to go out there, and I didn't want to let everybody down. So I had to make sure I came home with the gold.
And last thing, to follow up on the Nick Diaz comments and the George St. Pierre comments, will you do anything in addition to basically just publicly stating that's who you want next? Like, will you have a conversation?
Those guys want to make money. I don't think. I'm not a guy that hates athletes. Robbie Lawler is a guy that I admire. I love his comeback story. No other mixed martial artist has had a comeback story like Robbie Lawler. He came back, he had a subpar record in Strikeforce. He had some great moments, some bad moments. He switched weight classes. He came back and he went on a storm. I technically just beat the best welterweight in the world. It wasn't a guy out of his prime. It wasn't a guy that hasn't been on these 3 wars back to back to back. These guys are legends. Nick Diaz is the top 5 welterweight of all time in my eyes. Georges St. Pierre is the number 1 welterweight in my eyes. If I'm an athlete in this sport, in this division, and I want to say I'm the best in the world, I feel like I should compete against those guys. So I don't feel any obligation to go by the rankings. We all know how those rankings are produced anyway. And I want to go out there and I want to fight the money fights.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We're going to take 2 more, guys. Got one right here.
You went into the octagon early today. You were talking about visualization. What did you visualize when you were in the octagon before anybody else got into the arena earlier today?
How you know I was here earlier today? Sneak attacking me. I like to go in the octagon to see if it's slippery, number 1. Sometimes the adhesive spray is not as sticky as it is in other locations. So I need to know where I can throw kicks from. I need to know if I go for a takedown, where I slide, if I'm on top ground and pounding, where my feet come from underneath me. I know it sounds crazy, but it's just something that makes a lot of sense when you're fighting. Also, I just want to feel the moment. I want to walk in there. I want to see the stands empty. And I really, really, as hard as I can, I try to make the octagon and the stands empty when I go out there. So I don't have the pressure, I don't have the fans, I don't have the screaming. So when I walked out there, I saw a couple of celebrities, I saw a couple of friends, but then I went tunnel vision. I blocked everybody out, and I only heard Duke and Dean Thomas. And also, I want to see the size of the cage. Every cage is not the same size. Some cages like a 29, right? And one's like a 31.
25 and a 30.
Yeah. So that one seemed to be a smaller cage. So I know I need to get in
There's
there
actually
and
a
get
bigger
after
one.
it. The bigger one?
Yeah.
Well,
You
felt
made it
smaller.
small.
Well, good. Well, I like to see that stuff because, your heels hit that fence, and sometimes it's not a good thing against Robbie.
And obviously one of the bigger storylines going into this was the whole American Top Team versus American Top Team. But for you, this has got to be special. You started with them, you've been through the whole thing, and now you've got the championship belt to take home.
Yeah, I think I'm the first product that they've produced from amateur. When I first started with American Top Team, I wasn't even fighting yet. I was a collegiate wrestling coach. I was punching the bag here and there, and a buddy of mine who's actually here, he found Eve Edwards for me, and I started coaching him in wrestling. Then I started doing amateur fights. Then I started training Dean Thomas, Thiago Alves, and all the guys at the American Top Team, and I used to get my butt kicked. I was a bag of bones. Tyron come and spar this guy, Tyron come and spar that guy. I used to spar twice a day, with the heavy guys in the morning and the light guys in the evening. So with that said, I've earned my key to walk around with the American Top Team flag. I've recruited for the team. I've set up booths at NCAA wrestling tournaments and try to get people to join the team. I got a lot of pride in American Top Team, and it makes me feel awesome that I can be one of those guys that say, hey, you can join this team. You can be a cardio kickboxing student and decide to want to fight, and you have a chance to be a world champion.